Welcome to ICD-10-CM Basic Coding Steps. This quick video just serves as a bit of a refresher from your 1274 Intro Coding course. After reading the medical documentation, it's first important to choose the correct main term. What is the condition or the disease that is being documented? Why is the patient being seen in the first place? So looking at the diagnosis statement of acute, infective, hematogenous osteomyelitis of the right fibula. So first and foremost, we are going to be putting that medical terminology course, the wisdom that you gained in that course, we're going to be using a lot this semester. So if you ever feel like you need to go back and look at that study card, it's very helpful in this class if you can't remember all of your word parts. So looking at this diagnosis statement, we can deduce that osteomyelitis is going to be our main term. So why osteomyelitis? Well, if you take a close look at each of these words, for example, acute, this just describes the condition, just means it has a sudden onset. It's not a condition in and of itself, but it describes a condition. Same thing with the term infective. Again, it's not a condition, but it just describes a condition that's resulting from an infection. Hematogenous, again, thinking back to our word parts pertaining to blood formation. Again, this is not a condition, but describing a condition. It's arising from or generated from the blood. Right fibula. Again, this is not a condition, it's not a disease. Your right fibula, everybody has one, but it does describe the place of the condition or disease. So here, all of these terms are describing the condition. That leaves osteomyelitis, inflammation of bone marrow. Okay, there it is. That is our condition. We have this inflammation of the bone, an infection in the bone. So that's going to be our main term. That's the condition or disease that we're dealing with here. So after we choose that main term of osteomyelitis, we then find the main term in the alphabetic index. So osteomyelitis, and then we scan through, again, these non-essential modifiers and any subterms to try to find the most applicable route. So looking through these non-essential modifiers, we see the term infective. Okay, that was included up here. We've got that checked off of our list. Acute. Hematogenous is a subterm under acute. And we have fibula. So we've pulled in just about every describing term within these subterms, so that's great. So after scanning the subterms for all those details, we need to pay close attention to any instructions here in the alphabetical list. So we don't have any instructions per se, but we do need to remember some of our conventions. So remember, a dash means that this is not a full valid code. We need to add another character here. That check mark is also reminding you that we need to go check that tabular list. And as you know, even if there isn't a check mark next to a code, you still need to go check that tabular list for every single code. So let's go to that next step and always check the tabular. Once we arrive in the tabular list for M86.06, we need to make sure that we are adhering to any instructional notes or conventions and guidelines. So first of all, for any code that starts with M86, we are instructed to use an additional code to identify the infectious agent. Well, our documentation says this is an infective condition, but it doesn't specify the infectious agent such as streptococcus. So that's not there. We don't need to worry about it. It has not been documented. Use additional code to identify a major osseous defect if applicable. It's not applicable. It hasn't been documented. So those are not applying here. Taking a look through those excludes 1 and excludes 2 notes. None of these seem to apply to our documentation, so we're good. Looking down here at M86.06, we have this box, check 6th, meaning we need a 6th character. We're only at 5 here. And we have our options for our 6th character. 1 for the right tibia and fibula, or 2 for the left. Our documentation mentions right fibula. Remember that "and" in the tabular list means "and or." So it could mean tibia and fibula, or just the tibia, or just the fibula. And in this case, we just have the fibula, so we're okay. So our final code here that we are going to confirm is M86.061. This will be our final code. And then at the end, we usually sequence codes correctly. So often, patients will have more than one diagnosis. So just remember when we talk about a principal diagnosis code that that's always going to be listed first whenever you're listing any applicable codes for a patient. So hopefully this helped to jog your memory a bit and that you're feeling pretty confident navigating around that coding book. Again, remember you're going to be applying those medical terms quite a bit this semester. So if it's helpful, go back and take a look at all of those study cards from 1121 Advanced Medical Terminology. Happy coding. Have a good week.